Important business.
Leader, in March, the Auditor General released a scathing report on the Trudeau government's pandemic preparedness. And it was particularly critical about the decision just prior to the pandemic to shut down our infectious disease early warning system, one of the most effective systems of its kind in the world. The Auditor General recently issued another report that said the Public Health Agency was not as prepared as it could have been to respond to the surge in provincial and territorial needs for PPE and medical devices brought on by the pandemic. As Senator Housakis mentioned, the Trudeau government threw out some 9 million pieces of PPE in the National Emergency Strategic Stockpile that could have helped Canadians, and it closed down 3 of the stockpile's warehouses. Leader, will your government ever take responsibility for this failure, Leader? This failure?
Senator Gold.
Well, thank you. Your question, hot on the heels of Senator Housakis, allows me to repeat what I said. The government does take responsibility. You have quoted correctly from aspects of the Auditor General's report. The Government of Canada values the work of the Auditor General and accepts the recommendations, and like any responsible government, understands that it can do better and will do better.
Plett.
Well, in 2008, testifying about post-SARS pandemics before the Standing Senate Committee on National Security and Defense, Dr. David Butler-Jones, who was then Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, said, and I quote, "We need to sustain the interest and momentum around doing the planning so that we are not surprised and able to respond." Yet, the Auditor General recently reported that some of the federal stockpile inventory was expired or outdated, and that the Public Health Agency did not track the age or expiry date of some items. Leader, how will those who were responsible for this be held accountable? And it's the Auditor General, Leader, that is saying this. If no one is accountable, then how do you think that will impact our ability to be well prepared to deal with another pandemic?
Senator Gold.
At the risk of repeating myself, the lessons that we are learning, from the experience with this pandemic, the advice and input given by the Auditor General and others, one hopes the lessons that we will learn in this chamber, in the follow-up work that our committee will be doing, will all be taken into account by this government, and I expect every future government, so that we can be prepared better for the next crisis of this kind that may come our way.
Senator Pate.